Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Ken's Get Real show with guest David Hoffmeister. And today's theme is the little garden. So I'll pass it over to Kenneth.
Thank you, Andy. Welcome, everyone. Let me just go to gallery view here. Here we are. There we are. Oh, thank you. Oh, it's lovely to see you. Yeah, I think today's session will just be very relaxed. So you can sit back and enjoy the moment. That's the most important thing. Yeah, because I haven't got many words myself, really. Yeah, it seems like sometimes the words can't convey how you feel or what's really happening.
Ken, I think they need a little more volume. I see Barbara.
Oh, they can't hear me.
No, they can't hear you. If you can turn it up a little.
Can you hear me? Is that better? Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, good. Oh dear, I have no clue what's going on. Oh dear. Yeah, it seems like the last few days everything seems to be dropping away pretty rapidly. So it's no wonder these things are happening. It's like, I have no idea what we're doing here. Hmm. Yeah, this morning, my friend, me and Lisa, we join every morning, and I came into the room and she was super excited. She's like, oh my God, do you know the section, the little garden? And I'm like, yeah, I know that section. And she said, oh my God, I just found this beautiful meditation. Would you like to listen to it with me? I said, oh yeah, of course, I'd love to. And so we sat and we just listened to the little garden, and it's in chapter 18 if you want to listen to it. And yeah, it was just so beautiful. She just was sharing, you know, oh my God, this is what we're doing. This is everything. Yeah, it's yeah, it's hard to say. It's like so yeah, it just feels like there's this sort of peace in my mind, and I can't get past the peace to give the words. So it's a bit hard to sort of describe it. Every time I go to talk, it seems kind of pointless, trying to describe something that's undescribable. Yeah, we decided that we wanted to do a Tabula Rasa mystery school here at La Casa de Milagros, for those who really want to go deep into mind training and to the mystical teachings of A Course in Miracles. It just felt like this was what Jesus was asking of us. And since that moment, everything's changed. So yeah, it's become the blank slate. Lisa and I the other day, we did a talk with everybody at La Casa and just said, yeah, listen, it's not going to be co-living any longer. It's going to be a devotional center. It's going to be a mystery school, 6 weeks mystery school for those who really want to dive in for 6 weeks. And then the rest of the time will be for devotion, pure devotion, silence, contemplation, but also a desire to serve and to join very deeply. And since we did that, yeah, since we sort of said yes to that, everything's become very quiet. It's sort of like, it's just like cleaned everything. It's like, okay, what am I doing? It's for real. It's not, we're not doing something in the future. This isn't a future goal. The promise is always now. You know, I was joining with my friend Marcel. I spoke to some people about this, but he's completely and utterly brand new to A Course in Miracles. He listened to David once on a retreat, and he was just like, every word was just penetrating him, and he was just like, oh my God, this is just amazing. Like, I have to come. So he asked to come to La Casa de Milagros, and we said yes. And he came. He didn't even have A Course in Miracles book, and I had two. And I was like, there you go. There's a book for you. And we were in the kitchen, and he said to me, he said, what do you do if the present moment isn't offering you much. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, he said, I've just broke up from my girlfriend. And he said, so I'm thinking about her. And I'm also thinking about the future of what I'm gonna do. So it seems like right now that the present moment doesn't offer me anything. And I said, well, the present moment is offering you everything. And I said, there's a gift waiting for you, but it's just whether you choose to accept the gift or not. And he was like, really? And I said, well, yeah, because let's face it, your girlfriend isn't here now, so that's really not serving you in that way, and the future's not happening, so we can hypothesize about anything we want, but it's not actually here. So this very moment is where everything's happening. It has to be here and now. So this has to be the gift, and you have to be willing to find that gift inside of you. And I said, listen, I've got to go because I've got to go on a call, but I look forward to hearing about you finding the gift. And so he went on with his way. And then the next morning I saw him. I said, hey, how did you get on? And he said, well, I felt a lot better because I wasn't thinking about the past and I wasn't thinking about the future. I said, well, there you go. That was very good. Very, very good. And he said, yeah. And then I had this joining with Lisa in the kitchen. And he said, yeah, and that was okay. And I said, well, that's not what I got told. I got told it was a very profound talk. And then we just started sort of going over what was expressed. And I was just like feeling the gift from that. I was like, oh my God, it's just such a gift. And you're sharing that with me now. And this is such a beautiful, beautiful moment that we're sharing. And then he was just like, you're right. And I said, you have to see it. You have to see it in this moment, that everything is being provided and everything is being given in this very moment. That's all that you need. And this is wonderful. And this is wonderful that we're here and now. And he's like, you're right. You're right. And he just started getting happier and happier. And I think that's just what we're really doing in this garden, in Jesus's garden, the little garden. Jesus is saying, hey, come and join me in the garden. Come and join me in the beautiful garden of the holy instant, where it's all here and now. And it's not something that you have to wait for or that you have to even try and achieve. That you're entitled to rest in the garden. And I think it's this sort of idea of trying to attain something, or that it's going to be in the future, that eludes us. But we are in the garden now, and that's what the teachings were this morning, coming through Jesus for us all, to remember that it's just completely and utterly here. And since saying yes to this Tabula Mystery School, it's just like, no, there is no need to plan. There really is no need to plan. As he teaches in lesson 135, if I defend myself, I am attacked, that you will be told of the plans. And so there is nothing really to plan. It's like this, like before I would think, oh my God, there's a seeming school to plan, or there's a devotional center to plan. It's like, well, it's not actually my plan. That's the whole laugh of the whole thing. It's just to be completely present to whatever is happening now. And Jesus wants to reveal the plan for joy for us. And so I was reading the other day, and I went into the room to see Lisa, and I said, did you know that the symbol of resurrection is joy? And she said, no, I didn't know that. And I said, well, it is. It's in chapter 11. She went, you've got to be kidding me. And I said, no, I've just read it. So she said, okay, let's find it. So we found it. And Jesus says, yes, the symbol of resurrection is joy. And I said, and that's all I'm interested in. That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing here. And that's the only thing that we need to do. And that's the only thing I need to worry about is joy. And it's like everything is there, everything is just waiting for that. And that's what I just keep seeing. That's all I keep hearing from A Course in Miracles now is just joy. That's what it is. It's just so funny that I couldn't see that before. And that's what I love about the Course in Miracles. It's like these gifts just keep coming all of the time. It's like it just becomes more and more alive. It is real. This letting go is real, is completely real. And this seeming let go in my mind, it's like, okay, it seems like there's more things coming in, but it's not really for me in a way. It's kind of funny to say that. It's like it's everything. It's just for everything. And that's what it feels like. It's like this just gift is all for me, just to remember who I am, just to remember my true identity. As David, you were sharing last night in what's it called? Mexican Dynasty. You know, we're all Humpty Dumpty, and the self-concept is just falling off the wall, and we've just got to let it crack. And that's what it seems like this next phase is for everyone. It has to be that we're all just finally in the great surrender. It's just, okay, I need not do anything. It all can be revealed to me. The great plan can be revealed to me, and this puppet can be moved, and I don't have to feel responsible for anything. I can't be responsible for anything. It's impossible. It's like somehow what I feel is like for me is that it's like the past is really dropping away. Like the old, it's like when you're in the car and you're driving around and you've sort of gone around, you've got lost, and then eventually you realize that you've got to take a new road. It's impossible to continue going that way. And it's like that. And it's like everything is pointing you into the right path. It's like no matter what you sort of try and do, you can't get off the right road. It's like no, it's this way. And it's so obvious. And it's like if I try to seeming deviate, it's like like I'm being like on your stabilizers on your bike. It's like when you're a child and like it feels like you're gonna fall, but the stabilizers, you're like, oh my god, thank god I've still got these stabilizers on, because they're really helpful. So you can still like go really fast and have a lot of fun, and the stabilizers are there. And it's like that's what it feels like at the moment. Like the stabilizers are like Jesus, the Holy Spirit, and it's like you can't. You're just like wee, and you can't not go anywhere because they're just going to hit the ground for you. And you're just like, okay, here I am. Thank God for that. You have that little feeling in your stomach as if you're going to fall. You're like and it's like okay, I'm still good. And that's what it feels like at the moment. That it is absolutely impossible to go in the wrong direction. So it's like that strength, like he says, you know, going through the eye of the needle. It's like you can't not go that way. It just seems to be impossible, and that there's no other option. It's just like there's no other option at all, really. It's just I can't even possibly think of any other options than what's happening now. And that's a true gift. That's a true gift, that there's nothing else that I want than what's happening now. There's nothing else for me whatsoever. And that's wonderful. I think that's what you were talking about last night, David. It's like if you're wanting to get something from the world or making a concept of yourself within the world, it's so tiring. That's what the episode in Mexican Dynasty was showing. You know, the one person who's trying to have a career, and then there's a lot of arguments as to how that should look, and then decisions around it, and just feels extremely heavy. And I was sort of like sitting there feeling so blessed, like, oh my god, there's no more striving in that way whatsoever. So it just feels so beautiful just to let go, really. I think it's so beautiful. Like we are so fooled on this journey to be like that it's sacrifice. It's like almost like every time we do a talk on anything, it's like someone wants to put their hand up and say, yeah, but what about this sacrifice? And it's just, it becomes more and more hilarious to like even think that it is a sacrifice. Truthfully, it's like, when are you going to get yourself into the state of mind that this is not a sacrifice? Like, what you're doing is a sacrifice. You are sacrificing yourself, and you are paining yourself. You are hurting yourself in trying to keeping up appearances, you know. And it's like when you start to go in this direction, it's seemingly each sort of let go is like, wow, why did I think that was going to be so difficult, you know? That's what's happened to me every single time. And this is what this seems to be now. This next sort of surrender, like, wow, why was I holding on so tight to that last rung, you know? Why was I like, it's a sacrifice? And it's like, okay, that was easy. And then you're into the next place. So it is so funny that like everything is being offered, and yet we continue to say, but what about sacrifice? What am I going to lose from this? And yeah, you're going to lose everything, because there's nothing. You have nothing. There's nothing here for you. It's completely desolate. And you have to really want something that's true. Something that's alive. To become alive. And that's what I want. And that's what I see. I see like everything becomes more alive. That's the gift of this. But we can choose to be in this sacrificial thinking if we wish. But it's very, very painful, to say the least. Yeah, so I just feel like this time for all of us is this somehow as there's this deep surrender going on. It's like it's just here waiting for us, and it always has been. And this peace is completely and utterly here. And that's just what's been happening to me. It's like every time I sort of close my eyes, I think I'm going to be here for the next 3 hours because I can't move. And it's like, no, there is nothing else to do. And in that, everything is being handled in a way. It's like I am really, really being taken care of. It's like it's seemingly there, I've got a lot of things to do, but yet everything's being taken care of. It's like the Taoists say, you know, join the flow of life. Like, why are you thinking? Like, there's a natural flow. Like, duh. And I never quite got that. I like that. I sort of like saw Taoism in the beginning of my spiritual journey. I thought, oh, this sounds really cool, but it's a bit simple, isn't it? You know? That's what I thought. I can't work this one out. It's just too simple. You mean there's a flow of life and I just jump into the flow and everything flows in that? Yeah, okay, that's too simple. Let's make this a bit harder. You know? It can't be that easy. And it's like, as you come along, it's like, no, there must be some deeper teachings here. That's what I thought. This isn't very deep, these teachings, are they? It's a bit simple. And I think probably that's what you found on your journey, David. It's like, God, it's just so simple. That's just the joke. That's the joke that I've found from all of this, is I'm the only one that complicates it. But I think your life has got simpler every day, hasn't it? I mean, I don't even think you can even say it's simple any longer, David, can you? I don't think that word even exists, is it? You're like, simple, what's that? I mean, concepts are just sort of like gone.
Yeah. We've been, just, it's been deep. So you're just kind of like you're like a happy sheep herder that just is the little lambs and sheep going around you, and you're just happy for no earthly reason. Yeah, and it's beautiful. Because that's what a life of devotion is. It's just really trusting in the moment. And, even with Tabula Rasa Mystery School and that Tabula Rasa state of mind, then, there's a few things coming that will come your way, which you love, to work with. I bet, have you had interns before?
No.
No. So you're going to have interns,
Yeah.
and they're just going to look to you, and you'll be there looking to them and pouring your heart out and your joy and your full focus. And that is something that you feel joy in your heart around. So, and then everything else is just like a swirl. It's just all happening and it's taking care of everything. So it's good. You mentioned that eye of the needle. I think of that passage from the Bible where Jesus says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And the eye of the needle is like a very narrow mountain passage, but Jesus does refer to the pathway, the journey to heaven, as the straight and the narrow. And it does seem like when you just merge with the flow and yield to it, that you're in the straight and narrow. There's no other options. You don't. It's more like you're watching the world, but you don't really feel like you have to figure anything out. It's just all given, and you don't have to ponder options. That is draining to ponder hypotheticals. What is this, and what about this, and what about this? It's very draining. That's what you were having in your talk with, what was his name again?
Marcel.
Marcel, yeah.
Yeah.
When he was thinking about his girlfriend and everything, and you were just talking about the gift that's available, and then he took you up on it to go to find it, and that's really what our devotional life is about. It's really an open invitation to really give yourself over to the moment and trust that everything is provided. So it's kind of funny to go to a school that has no lesson plans. That would have been the biggest laugh if we went to school when we were younger and we said to the teacher on day one, what's your lesson plan for today and for this month and this school year? And the teacher said, there is none. So there is a lesson for sure, but it's in the mind, and there's no lesson plan. And so you don't find the lesson through plans. You actually let go of planning, and then, as you said earlier, like Jesus mentions in lesson 135, if there are plans to be made, you will be told. Oh, great, thank you. Well, that just takes the last wisp of my desire to plan like a vacuum cleaner out of my mind. That's all I need is Jesus Christ telling me if there's plans to be made, you will be told. So that's very relaxing, because planning is very draining. And I love to quote that part from that same lesson about not activating the past or organizing the present or planning the future. When you put those three together, then that's it right there. That's why you can only trust in the moment, because anytime you try to activate the past, organize the present, or plan the future, you deny the flow of life. And that's not our purpose. We're not here to deny the flow of life anymore. We're here to just yield into it and be it. So, I can see. That's beautiful too, because obviously Tabula Rasa Mystery School is not in your mind on the timeline. It's not a future event. It's a present state of mind. And that's what makes it so much fun. That's why every joining with an intern, is joyful. That's why every meeting, every holy encounter with anyone is just lit up because of the purpose, because of being in the moment. That's what lights everything up. And yeah, we seem to go through the things that we do, but I think you hit it on the nail on the head when you said, yeah, if there's any kind of belief in sacrifice, like somehow that you're going to lose something real for this glorious moment, it starts to be ridiculous. And then that is what the simple joy is, that's our keynote, that's our symbol of the resurrection, joy. And I've always loved that. I've been talking to people even today that even the attempt to write a proposal for something in the future, they were unable to. They absolutely could not put the words down. They were just stopped in their tracks from trying to put a proposal together for the future. And they just came back with a kind of a sigh and a laugh, like, okay, I can't do that either. But it's like you said, it's just things naturally start to fall away when you no longer give your attention to them. And then that is the simplicity of just the moment. But you don't think of simple lifestyle. You don't think of simple occupation or a simple vocation, because those things really are things of time. And the tabula rasa, the blank slate of the mind, is everything. So there's no draw to it. So you do find yourself, close your eyes, and then time goes by without its touch upon you. It's like just being happy and content, So I'm so happy to hear that. It's we can see it on your face. You've got a very happy, content face.
Thank you. Yeah, it's funny. Like, like yesterday, I was sort of praying and I thought, oh, I need to think about what the episode's going to be. And it, as you said, I just couldn't plan. It just wasn't there. And then that's when I went into this meditation and then I couldn't get out of that. And that's just where I was. I was just in there. Lisa's, where are you? And then that sort of like went, and then it wasn't until this morning she shared with me the little garden. It's like, and then just as I was leaving the room, and she said, "And what's your episode about today then?" And then I just turned around and said, "The little garden." And she went, "Oh my God." That's it. Oh my God. So it just happens. It just happens. It happens in moments. And then she messaged me and said, "Oh my God, you're not going to believe this." I'll just read it. She said she was talking to Kai here, and she says Jesus talks about a blank slate. And I said, "Does he?" And he said, "Yeah, it's in lesson 65. See if I can find that. Maybe I can't find it. But yeah, and there he says, yeah, and it's time for a blank slate. So it was like all of these symbols just coming in. From everywhere.
It's amazing to think that every single scrap of guidance, any bit of guidance that you've ever had in your entire life is all just to come to that still point, that blank slate. And and really that is salvation. Jesus says salvation is, I do not know the thing I am, what I'm doing, where I'm going, how to look upon myself or the world. You know, his description of salvation is the blank slate, and to the ego, it has a different word for it than salvation. It calls it gullible. It's like, yeah, that will bring you to death faster if you let go of everything that's in your consciousness. Then you will die, is what the ego says, because the ego believes that without judgment all would be chaos, and Jesus says, "Oh, I assure you, without judgment all would be love." It's a diametrically opposite view of judgment. And most people can say they know what the monkey mind is, or the mind chatter, that it's been a very uncomfortable friend for as long as they can remember, this chatter. But what's underneath the chatter is the generator of the chatter, the inventor of the chatter is the ego. And it's saying, don't even think about it. You know, if you want to meditate, you know, you're wasting valuable time. You know, time is money, and if you are just meditating, you're wasting time and money. And then it's saying too, underneath that you'll die. That you are in, the ego says you're in a world of survival of the body, survival of the fittest, and if you just stop this striving to survive, you will die. And so that's like its tenet, its main teaching. And that's why it's so delightful when you actually start to sometimes involuntarily find yourself just so relaxed and so peaceful and so open, and it doesn't feel like anything's being destroyed at all. It doesn't feel like death at all. It feels delicious, delightful, wonderful. So it's just showing us that the ego doesn't really know what it's talking about. It's just all puff and smoke. It's trying to really keep the mind in the chatter and not even give itself permission to let it go. But that's really what this is all about, you know, is the letting go. And I think it's actually wonderful when you start to realize you don't have to plan. Things just show up, and things keep showing up, and things wonderfully keep showing up, and there's no loss involved in it. There is no sacrifice in this abundant experience. And it's just a lot of ego programming that tries to come up to offer some sort of resistance to it, you know. But once you make the turn into it, then it's like the ego knows it can't use these tricks anymore, because the mind's like, no, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying your gig anymore. It's over. This game of distraction is over now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it. It's like, I think there was a turning point in just saying, yeah, I just can't do this any longer, you know? And somehow something just stopped. It's like, okay, I'll give up. This isn't really working.
Yeah. That was the moment, the movie we watched recently, Mr. Destiny, when he kind of leans against the wall, and then he just says, I give up. And then the whole color, the shading of the scene, and I mean, literally everything in the movie shifts with those three words, I give up. It's the whole thing. So you had your foreshadowing, and then it happened to you.
Yeah. It was actually, yeah, that movie was very deep for me actually. I think it was. I mean, I don't actually know what was happening, but it felt like everything was just being reorganized or something. I was like, there was no sort of thoughts with it as I was watching the Mr. Destiny, but I was like feeling these uncomfortable feelings. I'm thinking I have no idea what's happening, but there seems to be a lot happening on another sort of level that I'm not aware of. And then slowly all of this, like, yeah, you're right, being destined for something else, like something more. If only I had the bigger houses he wanted or the fantasies that he had, then he would be more happy. And then seeing that wasn't it, and sort of like letting go of that seeking. It was like someone was saying the other day, it's like, yeah, there's actually an addiction to seeking, but there's not an actual addiction to finding, you know. And it's like you keep sort of missing that it's now, and oh, but it's in the future again, so I need to do a bit more seeking in order to find what is now. And it's almost like when you're sort of carrying that heavy bag, and then finally you say, oh, I've had enough of carrying this heavy bag, and you put it down. It's like, oh, that feels so much lighter. It's like it's like that. And like, why was I looking in the wrong place when I was already there? It was, yeah, that's what it sort of felt like. Because it was the other day, Lisa was, I went and saw her, and then she said, it's all non-duality. There is no duality. And then that instantly just snapped me into this experience. And then I just couldn't move. And she was like, don't worry, I'll get you a drink. And I was like, oh, I can't move, Lisa. And we were just out of it. It was just so peaceful. It's like, oh my God. It was just beautiful. And it's like, it's just so simple. It's like always available, just to, so soft. I was just sort of reminded, it's like being Dorothy, you know. You always had the power to go home, Dorothy, and it's like, what? I just made all of that up? You gotta be kidding me. So, Dorothy, you always had the power to go home. Oh dear. Well, maybe we can ask if anyone's got any questions, David, or needs any help, or would you like that?
Yeah, I see Barbara has had her electronic hand up for a while there, so she's raring to go. The big heart behind her. She's she's our big sweetheart, ready to lead it off today.
Yeah, we can start off with Barbara. And just a reminder for everyone to keep the sharing short and concise so we can get through everyone if there's a lot of hands today.
Hello.
Hi, Barbara.
Oh, gosh. I know I put my hand up right away. Probably a little too soon, but hey, what can I say? Oops, I got this thing. Anyway, so what a week. My husband went to the emergency room on Wednesday with the bladder situation, so he's home and better. And then we've just had a lot of little anxiety this week. We finally got our Social Security after 3 weeks fixed, you know. But, you know, I talked to Kenneth, and all that's kind of, you know, working, and the thing I talked about my son and everything. But I want to talk about this dream because we were discussing what we're discussing today. I've had a dream recently, which I don't dream a lot anymore. I've had thousands of dreams that I've recorded, but lately it's just been hard. And so I had this dream that I I think it's telling me so much, and I'd like to see your input. And it's not a long dream, so I'll keep it concise. So I'm dreaming that I'm in the car and someone's driving, and I assume it's Jesus or the Holy Spirit, you know. So they're driving me, and we're behind a truck that's on fire. Okay, the back of the truck's on fire, but the driver, so he drives us up and we go around the truck, and I look up, and the driver, he's just happy person. You could see he was happy. He's having a good time, not knowing the truck's on fire, but he's still happy, you know. So then we drive, and then we get behind him again, and the truck drives off the road and into this kind of just a meadow type thing. And as he's driving up, there's a circle of praying Peruvian, a huge circle of Peruvian shamans praying. But there's a fence, a chain link fence between him and the truck. That and the truck. And then I can see this reservation, like it's on a reservation, which I just snapped when you were talking that I have reservations if I do my dream interpretation correctly. But what happens is the truck is still on fire, and then I look towards the truck. I see the Peruvian prayer circle, and then I look at the truck, and he literally becomes the chassis. He transforms himself. Now he's the structure of the truck, but he's still happy. And the truck just transforms into this guy now being part of the truck. So I interpreted that as being that you are the structure, even though the fire's going on. The reservation is connection, I think, with prayer. I pray all the time, but I think that there's something still keeping me from connecting in that way. So there, I'll turn it over to you guys. It was a great dream. It really was.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, I think. So that's kind of, I would like to know more if y'all, can maybe add to that.
That's great, because that's a dream of transformation, and that's what it seems to be. Everybody deep down inside just wants to have this feeling of we're together, we're connected, we're happy, we're grateful for being together, and I think that's it. That's what Ken's been describing. It's all here in this moment, and when we look at it as if it's in time, and we try to seek after something we believe we need to get to that place, then it's just saying that we believe we're not it right now. So I think it's a pretty powerful dream. Fire is oftentimes associated with combustion or transformation, and then in your dream, the whole truck and the man just kind of morph together. And I think that's very much like the time collapse of the miracle, where it ceases to be about people or places or things. It ceases to be about issues and themes, and when we once believed in those so heavily, then that's when it was a rocky road. It was a lot of thorns in the road. But once we relax and start to trust, then things are working out. Your Social Security got worked out. Your husband came back from the hospital. You can see that these are just nice symbols of everything working out. And then the more you see that it's just your mind in the moment that is really what that working out is all about, then you can even relax even deeper into it. And like Ken was sharing, as if nothing's really happening. There's no responsibility of trying to make something happen or fix something. Tabula Rasa, wow, what a state of mind. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to reorder. There's nothing to work out. that's the gift. Yeah, and I saw Andy posted the little thing that from Jesus about the blank slate. He put it in the chat. So see, Ken didn't even have to find it. It's Andy did. So it's out of our hands. It's all taken care of.
Yeah, that's what I took from the dream as well, with like the shamans, no matter what was going on, that everything is in divine order and everything is being completely and utterly looked after. And that is the flow. We are completely looked after. And that's how I saw that aspect of it. And that's what we have to remember, that it's all working together for good. It's just absolutely perfect. No matter what it morphs into, it's all completely and utterly perfect. And we're being held in that. So yeah, thank you for sharing that with us, Barbara. Love you.
Thank you, Barbara. And next up is Patricia Carrier.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Patricia.
Hi, Patricia.
How are you?
Very good.
Wonderful.
Today is my 60th birthday.
Happy birthday.
This is amazing for me, not because of my birthday, but all these years, my birthday was always extremely painful for me. And I always said that and I started planning it. I'm a heavy duty planner, people pleaser. And I always said, on my 60th birthday, I'm making this huge party, like it's a wedding. I'm inviting everybody, like from the state, from Canada, I live in the Caribbean, and from everywhere. And here we are. And I started planning it 4 years ago. And of course, you know what happened. This is so funny. So, and Holy Spirit told me, you trust. And I don't know, like a year ago, I've made the decision that I was going to really be alone on my 60th birthday. And then I was fighting with myself. And I said, you cannot do that, and etc. Anyway, I've got, like, tonight I had like at least 5 or 6 invitations to go and have dinner. And for me, it's so difficult to say no. And I said no to all of them. I've stayed the whole day alone. I make a commitment to be here. I know I've never committed to you guys really, but to myself, I'm here every Thursday at 3. Well, my time it's 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. I said, I don't care. Like, I got all kind of people that are upset at me because I'm choosing to be here. I'm choosing to be with you guys. It's so important to me. And the other thing, I'm going to the mystery school. I don't care. The IRS is going to be solved, David. Okay, somehow I'm going to receive my paper. It's going to be, but I'm going there. You guys may say, oh no, she's coming. I'm going to go. We're going to find a way. So
I could start a trend. IRS issues, problems, Tabula Rasa.
So somehow, I don't know, like, I don't know nothing to start with, but no planning, no people pleasing. I'm going, and that's it. So it's good news. And I loved, David, I love so much the movie, Mr. Destiny was so lovely. Oh, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Patricia.
It's always
look forward to it. I'll give you a big hug.
Yeah.
A mystery school hug, a Tabula Rasa hug.
Yes. Oh, wonderful.
Thank you, Patricia. And next up is Stephanie.
Hi, David. Hi, Ken.
Hi, Stephanie.
Wow, so good to be with you. Yeah. Thank you for everything. It's always, I so much enjoy to be with you. Yeah, actually, I have a question. I have this question that I carry with me already like some time, and but I think now it's time to ask it. It's about collaboration. I heard in a video, David, you were sharing like collaboration is in the mind, and then the collaboration is not on planet Earth. It's a stepping stone, and it's to collapse down into the moment, into the holy instant. Yeah, it's something like, I'm not quite, I would really love to hear, how can I can you share something about it? I feel really I want to have, how can be a collaboration a blessing for all? I think that is my question really too.
Yeah, I think for me, first I was just tuning in and listening to Jesus, and he would share things with me. And initially, when he started to talk about collaboration, I thought about between people, and so he would give me a project, and then he would bring people in to collaborate with me, and I'd have a team to collaborate and everything. And then time and time again, the people would disappear, and I would be frustrated, and I'd say, I can't do it now. The people are gone. And Jesus would say, I'm here. And it was his way of bringing me deeper into the connection with the Spirit, with the Holy Spirit. It was like, really, all along, Jesus knew it was to join and collaborate with the Holy Spirit and merge with the Holy Spirit. That was always the purpose, because the Spirit is the remembrance that we're all one mind, and there's only one of us. But we start off with guidance, and then it kind of, as we go deeper into it, people one by one would disappear, and then I'd be frustrated, and I'd say, now what? My team is gone, and I can't do this by myself. And Jesus would say, laugh and say, I'm here. And I'd say, really? But I don't know if it can be done. He said, just watch, and I would pray and put my fingertips on the computer, and I'd say, this seems too big of a project for me. And he'd say, we can do it together. And it was starting to merge with the Spirit, and seeing that all kinds of things could come through me that I knew nothing of when I was merged with the Spirit. So that's why I say it's really, collaboration is not of time and space, because it's the purpose in the mind, and it is the instant. It's all to bring us to this instant. That's the whole point of everything, is always to come back to this instant. And at first you have this kind of feeling like, wow, with you, Spirit, I can do all things. And then the more you have emerged there, the more that is the thing that the collaboration was about. It was about identifying with the Spirit. It was about aligning with the Spirit. It was about the joy of the moment and having an empty mind that was freed up from concerns about time and space. And Jesus says that in the Course. You can merge with anything, a thought, an object, an image, anything in time and space, you can merge your mind with, and that's the whole point. to see the oneness, to see the connection, the total unification. So I think that's a bit what Ken you were describing, because it's like it's just everything is given. It's not like you're trying to connect the pieces. And even if you have a feeling like you're going to have some beautiful joinings in the moment with some interns, I love it. We always have a new word that comes in. I was over there. I was leaving La Casa last night, and they came up, and Lisa was all excited, and she says, "I've got it! I've got it!" I said, "What?" "Interns." I said, "Oh, in turn, like go within, in turn." You know, I always, there's always a deeper meaning for me, but it's joyful, you know, because it's a joining, it's a merging, it's an experience of this moment, and that to me is what collaboration is, and is of course everyone I talk to, like Slava one time, she was feeling collaboration, so we both have this friend who's an amazing musician, amazing singer, amazing with his technology, production, everything. He's like a musical genius. And she said, "Yeah, I'm going to do a collaboration with him." And she was all excited about it. And then when they got into the collaboration, he had less and less time to be part of the collaboration. So he started to seem to move away until one of his sons fell, had a fall from like 10 feet. And that was the end of the collaboration in form, because he put his full attention on his son who had fallen 10 feet. And then what Saba was hearing was, "Oh, it's me, Jesus again. It's me. I'm the collaborator." That's the whole point of it. Nothing was stopping. Nothing was lost. Nothing was missing. It was all just for that point, just for that realization that I'm right here with you. And then, of course, that it really took off. It sped up. The song got finished very quickly. Everything was given from Jesus, and it was just lifted off the timeline to the moment, to the connection with Jesus. So that's kind of how it goes. We just are willing, you know. At first, we're willing to collaborate the best we know how, based on our concepts. And then Jesus is always just smiling, saying, "Okay, good start." And it's me. I'm always there with you. Even with Helen Schuckman, in the end, she was still trying to say, "Wow, we made it. It was tough, but I got this book done for you. Got this book into the realm." And he was like, "No, it wasn't about the book. it was the love that I have, the love that we share. That was the whole purpose to the whole thing. Had nothing to do with scribing, had nothing to do with shorthand, taking things down shorthand, or typing up the notes, or, you know, getting something published. You know, that's from a worldly perspective, that seems like a big deal. Not to Jesus, though, the one who knows that the world's an illusion and love is real. he has a very different perspective on everything. So that's just what came to me. Is it's very much of you start in on something, and then the more you get into it, you know, it gets funnier and funnier. When the people started disappearing on the first project, I was just like, "Oh, this is not working. I thought you wanted me to collaborate." And he's like, "Well, with me." I'm like, "Whoa, okay."
Yeah.
It becomes clear.
Yeah, I think for me, like now, I want to see that there is just one relationship. So even though I'm using everything that is there, but to see that there's just it's just me, it's just my mind. like David, you once shared, the relationship is to see that there is no relationships, you know, it's just all absolutely one thing, and everything just wants to collapse in on itself. And so it's like, great, that's what that's what I want to see. And everything, it's like to see that it's not about time and space, is like what you were saying, David. Really, it's like we think about collaboration as time and space, and I've got to get something done. And I've had those similar experiences, doing retreats or anything like that. The whole team collapses around me. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I don't have all the details now. There was this one time we did a retreat. I did many retreats, and I did the similar job of running everything basically on the floor, which I was got pretty good at. But the last one was that, and I had all the details in my mind and everything like that. So I was basically just giving orders in this way. And then the last one was that, no, everybody was to have their areas. And so this person had their area, they completely had it and they loved it and they were into it. This one had their area, they loved it. This one had theirs, they loved it. And they would come to me and just share with me, just as like a prayer partner. Hey, what do you think about that? That sounds amazing. Great, go. That sounds amazing. Great, go. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's brilliant. And everyone, they're all in their joy. And it's like, okay, then, and we're going on our merry journey and getting everything prepared for the retreat. And then as the retreat comes, the whole team drop away. So for example, oh no, Anna has to leave your team now because she's now got to translate in Spanish because there's a woman that's turned up who can only speak Spanish. Okay, so she's gone. And then, oh no, we need Marga for another job. Okay, so she's gone. So then the whole team go, and they said, but don't worry, we've got a new team. So the new team turn up and they look at me and they say, okay, what are we doing then? I said, I have no idea what we're doing. What do you mean? You're the leader of the... Well, everybody had their own areas and the retreat is like now. And you're telling me you're leading the team and you have no idea what you're doing. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. So what are we doing? Well, what we're doing is we're learning trust by the looks of things. That's what's happening. And so that's what the collapse is. That was the collaboration. But if it was like, because I picked the team, I said I want to work with these four. I feel like we have a good team. So I get my team, and then Jesus says, guess what? That's not the team. And it's like, I'm the team. Trust me. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to trust. And so it's really funny, actually. We had to cook this salmon. We cooked this salmon, but we had to take it. We had to take it to another place. And I was told that I had to do it in a specific way. And so I knew about cooking. And I was like, this cannot be done. And I'm so angry about the whole situation. And I was sitting, Michael was here at the time. He was in the room where Lisa is. And I'll go into Michael and go, I've got some other options of how it can be done. He said, no, we've got to do it this way. This is what we're being told to do. We've got to follow. And I'm like, wow, this can't be done. And he said, but we've got to trust. We've got to trust in the miracle. It has to be. It has to be. Okay, Michael, I'm going to join you in that. We're going to deepen in our trust. I'm like, God, I need more than a miracle here, I'll tell you. We're doing this special meal. And it was just like collapsing time, you know. I don't know. To be honest, on paper, it just shouldn't work. It's just impossible. It was like completely and utterly impossible to do what we did. But somehow it all sort of collapsed down, and boom, 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 we get there. The food is still hot. It's salmon, and it can go cold, seemingly, pretty quick, seemingly, in my world. Jesus' world is very different. And all of a sudden, you know, we undo the salmon. The salmon's piping hot. It's completely perfect. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? Jesus is like, listen, I'm the chef, mate. And everyone's going, wow, this is absolutely amazing. And I'm like going like this. How the hell did that happen? And it's like, wow, I was completely wrong. I think collaboration is actually just to show you that you're completely wrong about everything. That's what I found. I'm like, okay, I was wrong again. That nothing is what it seems, and then more and more you've got to trust in that. So that's what collaboration is, as David was saying. It's always about trusting in him, and that's what I've been thrown in so many situations where I just think this is completely impossible. That just doesn't compute, and yet it happens. And that's the beauty of it when you say yes. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Next up is Lori Reese.
Hello.
Hey, Laurie.
Hi, Laurie.
Oh, I could feel myself getting all frantic, like trying to rehearse what I was going to say. It's going to be my turn soon. And then just seeing you, Ken, thinking, oh, I don't need to know what I'm going to say. I wish I could be as joyful as you in the not knowing. So at the moment, we've sold our house. We've got rid of all our possessions. My husband's not working. I'm winding down with the few clients that I've got, and we're going over to Spain to be with Jenny, close to Jenny and Barrett. And I've had so much fear coming up about, just this story that when I was younger, I wasn't a people person. I still think I carry that story around with me, and I'm going to be thrown in a situation with lots of people and really having to look at the people pleasing and just a lot of terror about that. So it'd be lovely to hear you speak. It was reassuring to hear you say, you, David, and you, Ken, and some of the other community members, that it was a similar situation for you. You know, I like to be alone. I like my own company. So there's that. But then when you were talking about the Tabula Rasa Mystery School, my heart just lit up. And then instantly the ego comes in. It's absolutely impossible. Don't even consider it. And then I get all emotional. But I just had such a huge insight when you said, like, no planning, and that Tabula Rasa is a state of mind. I thought, that I'm still believing that I'm going to be asked to sacrifice something at some future point. And that's not it. So basically what you're saying, I can just put that out there as a desire and then just take one step at a time. And if it's meant to be, it will all come about. Is that it?
That sounds perfect. That sounds wonderful. Yeah. You hold a prayer in your heart when things land, and then, it has to be shown. Yeah, it has to be shown. And that's the way we're taking it, and the way you can take it, and the way all of us can just take it in that one moment at a time. It actually teaches us to trust. It teaches us to expand our faith, and it puts us in closer contact with our intuitive inner voice, because sometimes we get really happy and expansive with something that's a brand new idea. And even though the ego tries to come right in and throw water on it, or, dilute it or something, or transform it, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And you start to transfer that with so many things. Yeah. So I know that's where we're at too. The way you described it is exactly how we do things. We actually had a meeting. When was that, Ken? We were talking about the possibility of this one day, and I was going to do a Chautauqua that night. I was going to do a little talk, and we got into this meeting, and it just went on, and ideas came pouring and pouring and pouring. And it was like Pentecost. We were like, whoa, here. Oh, yeah. And that was, they asked me, when are you going to start the Chautauqua? I said, this is the Chautauqua. So, it does go that way. Yeah, it does go that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you just say yes. And as we were just talking about everything, there's nothing that's impossible. That's what I'm seeing when you say yes. I was just reminded of like stories. There was one of like Paramahansa Yogananda, and they were at the Self-Realization Fellowship, and more people were coming, and but they just didn't have any money to be able to create better grounds, and build a new wing for all the people and everything like this. Wasn't even on the cards. It was just what they were just using what they were using. And then Paramahansa Yogananda was in prayer, and then he said, "Oh, we're going to build a whole new hall and everything like this, and we're going to build a wing and all of this business." And they went, "Yeah, but look, where's the money going to come from?" And all this stuff. So they come and he said, "No, listen, this is going to happen. I'm telling you, this is what's happening. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, this is what's happening." And they're like, "Okay." And then the next minute, because they said yes to it, the money came in and everything came in to be able to do it, to make it bigger. And it's like, yeah, when you know that in your heart, it's like, yes, this is what the Lord wants, then this is what will be provided. And that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen for myself. It's like when you feel that yes, everything will be provided. There's no, I don't doubt that. The only thing that is doubting is your mind, is the doubting mind, and that is just complete nonsense. But if you want to keep going this way, then it's it is extremely simple. It's very, very simple. Like he says, no stone will be tripped on. You know, they're already moved out of your way. It's a smooth sailing journey. It's gentle. It's soft. It's simple. It's easy. But it's that we seemingly, we want to have this fear, or like even that you can't do things or whatever, that it's impossible, and it's not. Nothing's impossible for the Lord. If you're meant to be there, you're meant to be there. If you're not meant to be there, you won't be there, you know. As Jesus teaches, that's what he teaches. It's just natural. So yeah, I won't worry too much. It's like just, as you said, it's like moment from moment to moment. It's like with the mystery school thing. And then today with the episode, it's like, I never knew what the episode was. Okay. It's the little garden. Okay, that's what we're doing. And then the next thing will occur and the next thing will occur. But I'm just taking one step at a time. It's much, much more simple that way, not worrying about what the greater plan is. I know we can get into, okay, what's my life going to be? But it's just always now. And that's where it's much, much more. Yeah, it's like, okay, let's not worry about all of those plans. Exactly. Yeah, the plans will be so simple. And as David said, they just appear. Like the right moment appears to you, and then, okay, that's where I'm being carried. So it's trust again. Just trust that you are truly being carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Lori. And next up is Isabelle.
Hi, Ken. Hi, David. Hi. Yeah, I'm very happy to be back here and to be joining with you and everyone again. I think last week, Kenneth, you said something like very straightforward, like there is nothing here for me. Like there's nothing in this world for me. And I don't have anyone else in my life, I think. I don't know anybody else who says it like that. And I think initially I might have felt a little appalled by it, but then I started feeling it out. It's like, yeah, that's great. It's been great to hear that. And I've really been taking that with me throughout the week. And then I started seeing that a lot more for myself as well. And then today, everything you shared right before this has also been very spot on for me, where I've been experiencing those same experiences of being in situations and just being completely happy with how it is, and then feeling strange that there's nothing I would want to do, and it feels like it's not even appropriate in that sense. Like doing nothing and saying nothing and just wanting to be, and then feeling like that's not appropriate in that situation. And today, and also last week, I've been, if there's nothing in this world for me, then there must be something else. And I've just been feeling a lot of dissatisfaction with a lot of my relationships and my friendships and activities that I'm doing. Like a lot of, it's not satisfying. It's like good on the surface. It keeps me occupied. It's fine, but it's not the depth that I would want to experience. But then for this other thing, there's no gray area between, sort of trying to have what God promises me, but also trying to make it look good in form or whatever, or all these things that I still want in form. And I'm trying to, there's just no way of staying in this gray area between those two. And that brings about, like, it feels quite painful. And so I'm really trying to figure out how I really, can live this non-compromise and this being super, super straight and clear. And I think I don't really know how to put that more in question form or whatever, but I've been with this dissatisfaction with a lot of my relationships. I think on surface level, I just really want to talk about God, and I just really want to talk about A Course in Miracles, but that I know it's not appropriate with that intensity or with that non-compromising way with these people. And that's been very frustrating in a way. So I'm trying to not force it on these people or on these situations, but then at the same time, I really want to go into that and live that, but I don't really know how.
That's beautiful, Isabelle. I think I went through something that was similar, and then what I heard internally was, I'll bring the people to you that are ready to hear it. And I didn't know exactly what that meant at the time, but I was open to it. I was open to being shown that. Because I think when we have a dissonance in our mind between what we want but don't seem to have, and what our current experience is, there's a dissonance or a gap there, then I had that a lot, and I would say to Jesus, what am I supposed to do? There are things that I want that I am not experiencing or that I don't seem to have. And he would say, well, let's just start to look at the things that you want and that you don't believe you have, and let's look at what you believe you're going to receive from these things that you want. And I said, okay, I can do that. And that helped me go more inward, because I was dissatisfied with my relationships and with some of my classes at school and university. And he would say, well, let's take it back to what you really want, that you believe you need these things to have. And that started to loosen it up for me, because I wanted connection, I wanted intimacy, I wanted freedom. And he would say, yeah, good. That's good that you're desiring that. And now you have to look at what you believe you need to have in the world for that experience. And it was part of becoming more God dependent and more starting to see that if I could listen and follow to what he was teaching me, that would bring me the experience that I wanted. So it does take a willingness too to kind of be shown the way, because when we're dissatisfied, you want to talk about God, and the people and the relationships are not feeling appropriate for you to share that, then I was very frustrated with that. And Jesus was saying, I'll bring you the people. He said, I'll bring you the people, but he actually had me travel, and he brought me the people, all right. I had to go all over the world for him to bring me the people. But it does seem like they showed up, the ones that were wanting to hear what was wanting to come through. But I had to let go of a lot of parameters, like my life as I knew it had to be given over, and then it all clicked in. So
Yeah, I think it's a natural process. I remember that, getting to that point of like, I just want to talk about this all the time. This is great. This is what I want to do. And then, okay, that's not around me. So, okay, let's just trust. And yeah, slowly everything then started to move in that direction. And then the same as the dissatisfaction, that was the same thing going along. Okay, these things aren't satisfying me so much. So wanting to find what truly does satisfy me, learning that the outside isn't going to satisfy me, but the inside is. And as David was saying, then you just keep looking at that. Wow, I really believe that this would satisfy me, and it's not. And then that makes you want to really find what is satisfying. And I think that's what happened to me. Like, so what is it then? If I'm not experiencing this, and Jesus, you're telling me this, then I really want to find that substantial experience that you're talking about, where I feel content, where I feel completely content in myself. And as you were saying, when you were resting with your friends and you're like, I don't think this is appropriate, it's the most appropriate thing that you can that you can actually do. You're just like being with yourself. And we're just really learning that is actually the most important thing, really, just to be who you are without wanting anything else. It's just completely alien to the ego thought system. Yeah, it wants us to be doing meaningless things and seemingly getting a little bit of joy, but yet we're after the real joy of everlasting joy, and so that's really what you're seeking. And I think it's like a fun time. It was a fun time for me, because it was like when you're going along and you go to do something, and it might be new, or it might be something that you've done before, and then it's not satisfying any longer. It's just like, okay, great, that's just not serving me any longer. So let's find what is serving, so it's just like the dropping away then becomes much, much more fun. And then you're sort of like, your mind opens up to what is, and then you start welcoming in more and more seeming people that want to talk about the same thing as you. And that's what happened with me. And now it's like, yeah, I don't go around talking to people about A Course in Miracles who don't do A Course in Miracles. I have to go around, I go around Mexico and, fixing things and doing whatever, but I'm not like preaching A Course in Miracles to everybody I meet. It's really just about the joy, and the love is what connects everyone and everything, and everybody wants the same thing underneath ultimately. So that's just what you share. So I don't speak the language here, but I've got so many friends when I'm driving around and I'm waving to everybody, and I'm having a great time in those connections. So it's like in any given moment, it's a beautiful connection. You can have it with anybody. As me and Susan were sharing this last night, like she was saying, like when she has to speak to people on the phone about admin and stuff like this. And she said, it's so funny because like we don't realize, like we just want to share love, and she's like share something from our heart, and the person will be like, okay, yeah, let's just get back to what we're, like what we're dealing with here. They want to get to the specifics of the situation. She's like, but I just want to share my love. It's like the world's like, okay, just back off a little bit there. And we're like, we're only being loving. But it's like it naturally happens. It's like my friends there, we're builders, you know, he's a builder, we're building things, but we just have great joy, you know, like when you just meet each other, it's just a beautiful moment. And it's like remembering those moments. It's like, it's not necessarily just talking about God, like we are in a godly moment. It is a godly moment. It's just like, there you are, thank you so much. And that's what fulfills my heart. I want every single moment in my life, no matter where I'm seemingly this body's going, to be like fruitful. And it can be. And that doesn't mean to say that I'm talking about A Course in Miracles, you know, it's just like, that's what my heart is calling for that deeper connection. And then that just starts to appear and starts to happen. So I just feel like everything's really, you're completely and utterly on the right track in asking that question. Yeah, like, yeah, there's nothing really here. There isn't. I want what's everlasting. And so whatever we believe is not that is going to start to slowly fall away. So I'm just so excited for you, really. I just feel like it's beautiful. And there's just like so many miracles just waiting for you when you just keep saying like yes to this. So yeah, it's wonderful, Isabelle. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Isabelle. And next up is Lynn.
Hello.
Hey, Lynn.
Hi, Lynn.
Oh,
Hi, David. Hi,
you.
Ken. Yeah, it's been a roller coaster of unwinding, and I'm on a farm in Montana now. And yeah, I've just been noticing the guilt that arises with perceiving mistakes, or that I can make mistakes, or that there are mistakes, like and then the kind of self-punishment that comes with that, and really trying to see through that, like, and really understand. And that's where I get a little confused with the surrender into the sense that it's impossible, but then reading about error, that error can be corrected. But then I was sitting with that thought of that the belief in error then is the belief in the past. So it may sound a little heady, but it's like as I try to let go more, it's like I'm trying to really see my innocence, because that's been coming up a lot where I am, like and it's been beautiful having mighties show up and these miracles, but just how much I still think I'm guilty shows up. And the highs and the lows of letting go again, like feeling like I had some idea of safety that I know wasn't real. But so wanting you to just speak on that, like, you know, error and correction of error, or belief in error, and just the gratitude. I'm trying to find that gratitude again for wherever I am. Like, it doesn't matter. There's nowhere to go. There's nothing to find. I'm still desiring the support of mighties. Like, I can go join on the deck project at the monastery, but I feel like I'm also given something here. It feels like wanting to recognize I'm always given everything I need. And then the guilt of, like, as if I'm trying to get anything comes in. And then the self-punishment that comes with that. And then the attachment to this dog, which has sort of been unwinding too, and just watching that and trying to let it be in its own time instead of feeling this judgment on myself that I'm not doing it correctly. Yeah, I felt like I was offered so much with this older couple in Tucson, and they were just, what do you need? We want to help you. And then that door sort of closed once I left. I felt like I didn't let him go, and now I have him, but you know, there's something else being offered. Somebody else wants him. So just trusting that it'll always show up and it can be in its own time, and like this pressure I put on myself of getting it right, or like just really wanting to let that go instead of carrying this belief that Lynn again has done something wrong and having this sense of self-abuse. But yeah, I can see when I feel in joy is when I'm being used, when I'm just being done through, and there's something being offered through me. But when the fear comes up and there's this contraction of trying to stay safe and it just feels awful. And then I just feel all the guilt that arises. So, and then trying to decide next steps or plans, and then letting go that there are no plans. So I suppose my two questions are with the belief in error, and then like when it can come in of like, okay, there's nothing to do, so just stay where you are. But then that can become a little safety net too. So, yeah.
Thank you, Lynn. Yeah, it's like this little tweak in the mind of purpose is so covered over, and I was reminded of my friend Judy Skutch-Whitson, who I had an email exchange with her a while ago, and she just wrote to me, I am facing a lot of pain, but it goes away when I am reading the course, listening to the course, doing a Zoom call with somebody, doing something related to the course or God. The pain just disappears. But without that, she said it's actually debilitating. And so I wrote back rejoicing with her in that realization. She's up in her upper 80s, and she was one of the original 4 up with the course. And so she's been just dedicating her mind, her attention to this, to come closer towards that place of do not see error. Because Jesus puts that in italics. Do not see error, he puts in italics, and the only way that can happen is with the Holy Spirit. It's not humanly possible from a personal perspective to not perceive error, because the whole timeline and the person is the problem. So you can't see a state of perfect innocence beyond error from inside the problem. So I like also where Jesus says, don't project the problem to time. You can't release it as long as you project the problem to time, if you project the error to time. So it's just a slow release of all the aspects of what seems to be the self-concept. And like Kenneth was sharing earlier today, it's like something popped where I was pursuing something, or I thought I had to handle something, and then suddenly it just popped. Almost like a balloon might pop, or a water balloon or something, and the water just splashes everywhere. And you know, it's like the prayer is always like, well, show me what I still believe in or what I'm still pursuing. And you've done that, you know, even with the dog, even before you left Mexico, you were aware going to Tucson, and there were things you would face, and that was in your mind. You know, you were aware already of some of the obstacles. And when we believe in those obstacles, then it gets very disorienting and confusing, because we're prone to take those obstacles in kind of a personal way, as if we personally should have done something different or need to do something different. It puts too much weight on us, as if somehow personally we've got to just choose our way out of this matrix or out of this labyrinth. And it's very tricky when we come from that angle. It's almost like the ego is just sitting back going, got you again. You know, I got you in a personal dilemma, damned if you do and damned if you don't, you know, kind of and you can't move, like you're just strapped down. So eventually, though, it comes to a realization that what I thought I wanted, what I thought I was responsible for in the world, what I felt guilty for about the body or the body of your dog or whatever it was, it just dawns in one moment that that's not for me. It's not from my mind. It's not my natural state of mind. And then it's like Kenneth was talking about, it's like a natural let go in one moment where it's like, what was I thinking? There's no like comparison even of how it was and how it is, because it's just a pop. So that's just what's coming to mind is really just stay very prayerful of right where you're at and what's right in front of you, like literally what's right in front of your nose. That starts to bring it back more and more to the moment, even though the ego wants to go off into the past and the future, and like a ping pong, ding, 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 or a pinball machine, ding, 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 with the ball goes between the little things and making all that racket and noise. I've often felt that the ego mind is like the pinball machine, and eventually we don't push the button that sends up another silver ball into the pinball machine. Eventually we're like, step away from the machine. I'm not pulling that spring and sending up another ball up there to ding, 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 and little flippers, and it's like that's the world. And at some point, it's like, no, I would rather be with myself as I am than send another metal ball up there with that spring.
Yeah, I was just thinking as well, Jesus wants us to be happy learners, and we have to remember that. It's like whatever sings to you in A Course in Miracles, maybe you hold on to that. And that's something that I would feel when I was going through stuff. Like, he wants me to learn, he wants me to be a happy learner. And of course, in the beginning, it's like, what the hell is this? But the more and more you want that, the more and more you do become a happy learner. It's like it is true. And how I see it is like, yes, things are going to come up. Okay, they are going to come up in my mind. I'm gonna have to accept that. There's going to be guilt. I'm gonna have to deal with certain things that are going to come up in my mind. But now I can choose as to how I'm going to do that. So I can choose to be the happy learner of it, and to have a beautiful experience in that. And I can expect miracles. And I think that's where the change in my mind come, is like, yes, I'm gonna make this up, yeah. And there are going to be things and emotions and things that are going to be difficult. But ultimately, it's always the same thing. It's, I think, like what we've been talking about here. It's only to strengthen our connection with the Holy Spirit and Jesus. And if it's there, then we can just sit with that and see the nothingness for what it is, And then in those moments when something's coming up for me, it's like, okay, Jesus, I want to be the happy learner. Okay, that's what's being promised. Okay, I'm going to expect miracles. And then, okay, whatever wants to happen. And I'm just going to keep plodding along until finally I'm out of the guilt. And it's like, okay, I'm going to get there. It's like we're on a journey, aren't we? If you go walking in the countryside and you've parked your car and you're sort of like doing a lap like this, and then you get lost and you're like, oh God, we're lost. But like, you just think, well, it's okay. I've just got to find my way back to the car. That's all I've got to do. That's the bottom line. And we walk along, don't we? We find a house. Hello, excuse me, I've lost my, where did you park? Well, that's the problem, I can't remember. And then you start talking to them. Oh yeah, I drove past that pub. Oh, okay then, I can take you there, And so something's going to sort of like, you're always going to be taken back, to like, oh, okay, nothing really went wrong, But it's like in the moment when you're lost in the country, oh my God, I've lost the car and everything's gone wrong. But slowly everything begins to come right, doesn't it? And you get back to the car and you go, oh, we made it. And so I was really worried about nothing. I was always gonna make it home. And so it's like, yeah, the ego's going to play its game that something's gone wrong, but we must remember it's okay. It's always going to work itself out. It's like, okay, that's done. There was no error. What was I worried about? And that's it. And then when the pop does come, that's absolutely beautiful, because I do know that it's like sometimes you're just like, oh, this, I just haven't had that breakthrough. And it seemed like that for me for periods of time, just like, come on, give me a break. But it was like always something in my heart was just saying, okay, let's just take the next step. Let's just take the next lesson. Like, I don't care, you know, you're promising me that something's on the other side. I'm not seeing it now. But if I just keep taking the steps, like finding the car, you know, I've just got to keep taking the next step and I'm going to find the car. And eventually you find the car and you're like, okay, there's more joy than I expected. So that's why I pray for you. Love you, Lynn.
Thank you, Lynn. Next up is Muna.
Thank you. Hello. Hi.
Hi, Muna.
Hi.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's coming to me right now is this. When you were talking about trust, I just had this clarity that I can trust, like in principle, like intellectually, but to actually trust, like practically, to make a step towards my brother, there was so much heaviness, like my head was dropping from the heaviness of it. Like I'm not even willing to take, you know, a milliliter to a step towards my brother. But and so but I think what the confusion has been is that I really do think I'm the doer. Like I'm the doer of the doing, and I have to trust to be able to do it. So I was separating the doer from the being, because when you started, I was like, yeah, you know, like just really relaxed and happy, and I could see that I'm relaxing my being. And as you were talking, it's like I could see that I do extend my hand outside the being to sort of tamper and interfere with the world, and that's not the way it is. But after that, I saw this separation that I'm doing, this duality between the doing and the not doing, or the being, and that, you know, I do believe that I'm the doer. And then there was a lot of fear of sharing this. I didn't want to share this because there's a lot of fear of letting go of the doer. Yeah, that's like so heavy in me. There's a fear of letting go of the doer. There's a fear of letting go of the body. It's like the body has become the cross that I bear, you know, as a penance for the guilt, for the sin or whatever. And so that's what the ego has been convincing me to hang on to, the body, because without the body, I can't be forgiven. It's like the ego's plan for salvation is penance and doing more hard work and striving and paying for the mistake that I made. And so this is so huge for me, and I need some more work. But thank you so much. That's like a very, very big thing for me to see, that I still think I'm the doer, and I still think there's value in hanging on to being the doer, value in hanging on to being the body. Because I have so many symptoms, and I'm like, Holy Spirit, I'm so close to you. I'm so close to the present moment. Why do I have all these symptoms? Like countless, I can't even count them. And today I said to Holy Spirit, please help me expose all the thoughts, all the beliefs, whatever is giving me these symptoms, like what is it? And I think this in a huge part, it's hanging on to the body and to the doer, and believing the ego's plan for salvation is actually beneficial for me. Thank you so much, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Muna. You know, you're touching on the same theme that Lynn just raised and Lori raised, where we become accustomed to the ego. We become accustomed to the configuration that the ego has taught us who we are, like Muna and these symptoms and this environment, and this is the me. You know, it builds like a Tonka toys, or like it builds a construct of the me. And then how do we get out of the maze of that me? It's like we're faced with it every day. The same body, the same environment, the same symptoms. So that's kind of how the Tabula Rasa Mystery School first came about. Was I was traveling around doing all these talks and workshops all over the world, and people were asking me hundreds of questions, and I was answering with the spirit. And it was like I was on the move and doing Q&A everywhere I went. And then at some point in the late, like 2000 and I think it was around 2009 or something, then Jesus, he had me doing a tour of Europe, and then I was down in Spain, and I was on this island of Mallorca, and he was telling me, now you're going to do a 4-week retreat. And I'm like, 4 weeks? My God, that's a long retreat. That was my first reaction to 4-week retreat. And then, yeah, people are going to come from all around, and you're going to get there. When they show up there on Mallorca to the casas or the villas or whatever that he would guide me to rent, they're going to say, okay, what's the program? And I'm going to say, there isn't one. What do you mean? I've just come here for 4 weeks with you and there's not a program. That's right. What are we going to do? I don't know. But we're going to be shown. And from the time that they landed and settled into the villas, it was moment by moment guidance, and it was a dismantling. It's just what Lori was talking about. Like I might go down and spend a little time with Jenny and Greg, but I don't know. I don't do well living with people. You know, that there's another self-concept thought. You know, I'm just barely managing on my own. Don't throw me in with a group of people. That's an invitation for disaster. Well, then after that first 4-week kind of I didn't call it Tabula Rasa, I just called it a devotional retreat. Interesting word, Ken. Back then, 2009, devotional. It was a devotional retreat. Nobody knew what they were doing, and I was just going to pray. And I said, I'm here with you, and I'll be with you every day, and we'll let it unfold. We'll be shown by Jesus what's going to happen. Then, and I think a year later, then Jesus said, now it's the same thing, 6 weeks. 6 weeks. 6 weeks, yeah. People all showed up. What are we doing? What's the program? We don't have one. There's no program. We're going to be here for 6 weeks with you with no program. Yeah, that's exactly it. But you see, that's going out from the textbook into the laboratory. That is really dropping into the laboratory, because that's 6 weeks of Tabula Rasa experiment of learning to trust and lay the mats down with seemingly a group of strangers, you know, who are all there for the same purpose. And they all have a certain level of trust to have come there in that context. And then it went on again. I went to Ireland, and I was talking to a lady, and she, can I do a one-on-one with you? Yeah. She was from Spain. She was from Mallorca. And during the one-on-one, she said, I have 3 buildings on this big property outside of Palma, Mallorca. And she was, I saw your name, and I saw on the internet, and suddenly I knew I had to go to a retreat. So I looked you up, and you were in Ireland. So I came up here doing a one-on-one. Why would Jesus and the Holy Spirit not make use of my property when I have given it over to them? For 5 years ago. It's perplexing me that I gave it over to them 5 years ago, and they haven't done a thing with it. And I said, well, maybe that's the point of our one-on-one. Sure enough, we sent Jackie over there, Jackie Simpson, and we got a team and got the place ready, these 3 buildings, and we did another 6-week devotional, all the people arrive, probably even some of the people you even know, they all arrived. Again, day one, they all land. We're all in these 3 buildings. What's the program? We don't have one. No program. And just the look on their faces like, oh man. And then right away, Kirsten and a few others would just say, Jason, okay, you, and you're in the kitchen. The kitchen? I don't want to be in the kitchen. You're on this team. You know, just wham, 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 wham. And then boom, here comes the reaction, because it goes against the self-concept of this stationary, fixed belief that I am this person and I live in this place and I have this environment and I have this situation. So it's really like after all these years of travel, then Jesus was like saying, here, we're going to do experientials, and we're going to do long experientials, and then people are going to have massive breakthroughs. And by the time there was that last 6-week devotional I did, there was a woman that came there who was diagnosed with cancer, and she came anyway. So she comes diagnosed with cancer, and to spend 6 weeks with me and this group of strangers that she's never met. And she didn't tell us at the beginning she was diagnosed, but that came out, you know, during it. And then what's the program? We don't have a program. You know, she's like, what the hell? I've just been diagnosed with cancer. I've come on an island with a bunch of people I don't know, 25 other people I don't know, and you're telling me there's no, you don't. I said, no, we're going to be shown moment by moment. But this is what it's about. This is why Ken is so happy and excited. The mystery school hasn't even started. 6-week mystery school, and he's here in June. This moment, we'll say this moment in June. And he's like, yeah. And he's all excited. He can't wait to see what's going to happen day by day, which interns will show up and who's going to all come. But it's all just going to be a joyful moment of dismantling, but in a very prayerful, helpful way. It's like a devotional, prayerful, we trust you, Jesus. We know you've got us. And whatever we thought we were is not it. But we do trust that you are going to show us the way. And it works. That's all we can say is it worked. I wake up in the morning, I have no clue how my day is going to go. I don't, you know, I write a few things down, and I even have to write, even though Ken does this every Thursday, I still put it on my little paper calendar because I'm so clueless that I cannot remember that it's Thursday. I wouldn't know it's Thursday unless I had a little, see, my grandmother, Lillian, she marked it off. I have to mark off the day of the week to know what day it is, because I can't hold on to a calendar days in my, what day is it? It's Thursday. Again, it was just Thursday. It was like yesterday. It was Thursday. It feels like it's all merging together. But this is what we're talking about. This is what the excitement is. And I'm so glad you brought that up. And I'm glad Lori brought it up, and Isabelle, and everybody's really bringing this up. Like, there's a prayer in our heart to be free. And we've tried it conceptually, and we've learned all the theories, and we've wound it in there as best we can through the tumblers of our mind. But actually, I think we're praying for an experience, a pop, like Ken talks about. We're praying for a pop. And this seems to be now what's going on, because I just had a meeting this morning where we tried to put together a proposal for an online retreat in August, and then in the end we couldn't. They absolutely couldn't write the proposal. Even it wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. And I'm like, well, okay, then that's it then. If it's not happening, it's not happening. But we actually had a meeting to try to write a proposal out, and it never happened. So we've, like Ken, we've gone tabula rasa. It's got us. somehow we're having trouble writing out. It was just a 3-day online weekend retreat, and we couldn't even write the proposal. So that's a good sign. You know, I'm okay with it too. I had no investment. I'm like, okay, it's not happening, then that's good. I'm good. I'm good with it.
I was just reminded, David, of that retreat that you were on, that you were sharing about, where the lady had the cancer. On that retreat, everybody was there, and a friend of mine was there. That's how I wasn't there, but I knew about it. And there was a point in it where everybody said, "Bring it on!" Everybody went round and went, "Yes, I want to be free. Bring it on!" And everybody in the room just went, "Bring it on! Bring it on! Bring it on!" And I picked my friend up from the airport. I saw him. He was just like sitting in the chair. He was a blank slate. He was just like sitting there like this. And I'm like, "Where's Steve gone?" And then I'll find him. "Steve, what the hell happened to you?" And he's just like this. He's just completely in the moment. "Come on, let's get you home." I'm like, whatever happened to you, I want 2 of them. It was amazing. And he went, it was unbelievable. Yeah. And he shared about the Bring It On prayer. And then I know the lady Joanna, who had the terminal cancer and everything like that, and just like, "Bring it on!" Completely cleared, completely healed. It's not even there any longer. It's just like, wow. It's just a beautiful thing when you want to be free, and it's like when you want to trust. I understand that, the development of trust. That's what he calls it, the development of trust. And it's like, okay, I want to learn. That's it. I just want to learn with you, Jesus. I want to learn to trust. I know that one, and we just take the steps. And that's why I love what Francis shared on the other retreat about what JP said. I just love this. It stays in my mind. And when Francis went to him years ago and said, "So JP, how do I develop this trust then?" And he said, "Start trusting." It's pretty simple. Start trusting. I love it. Keep it simple. So thank you so much, Mina.
I think we have to let go of this idea that healing is work. I mean, I had traveled around the world for 2 decades, done countless thousands of talks and gatherings and answering questions and everything like typically a teacher does. And then when I started being guided to Mallorca to do these things, it happened on the first month-long retreat, and then every subsequent 6-week retreat, I would say, when they would show up, they would say, "We're so glad you're here, David. What's the program?" I said, "No program." They said, what are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'll probably be getting a pina colada, a non-alcohol pina colada or something like that. And I'm going to be sitting down by the pool under the umbrella drinking my pina colada. So you're welcome to come for some spontaneous encounters down there." So that's what you're going to be doing here. It's like, are we going to have sessions? I said, "Well, you'll find me mostly down by the pool drinking the iced teas and the pina coladas." And I said, "But I'm here for joy, and I love to show movies. So I think I'll show a movie every night for 6 weeks, even though I don't know what movies yet. And then they come down and visit me by the pool during the day." Talk about not lifting a finger. Yeah, that was my program. I was there after all this travel and teaching for so many years. Jesus is finally like, "Yeah, go sit by the pool and just stay there." So I was mostly down by the pool. Then I would go, they would fix a big dinner with a new kitchen team that had never cooked before. They're all thrown into the kitchen to cook a meal. For 20, 25 people, they've never cooked a meal before in their life. And then during the meal, they'd say, what are we watching? I said, "I don't know." He'll tell me. Usually he tells me by the end of the meal, because I have to tell the people have to find it and get the movie ready. And usually sometime during the meal, I would get the download of the movie we would watch. And they were spectacular, deep quantum movies, metaphysical movies, crack your heart wide open movies. And I just had a blast showing a movie every single night and basically sitting by the pool during the day. Now that, to me, is where it evolved to. No program, very spontaneous. And then if I'm to show a movie, which Jesus was giving me a movie every night, then I just say, go set this movie up. And they say, give me 10 minutes to set it up. I say, okay, ring a bell. Nobody even knew what was going on. Ring a bell when the movie's ready, and then we all pile in there, and we would go for like 4 or 5 hours and have real deep, mind-blowing sessions. But I was just in my joy. That's all I was doing. I wasn't there thinking of this as work. I know I had done that plenty in my earlier life. Gotta work and work time, and can't play, you gotta work. No, this was just joy coming through me and out of me. And it has continued. I mean, now we're in Mexico, and we started, I don't know when that was, Ken, showing movies, and then now it's been going on for every Saturday for I don't know how long. I've lost count.
I have no clue.
we don't know. We can't even tell you when it started. Thank you, Muna. You're opening up for us. This is like Francis was told from JP. If you want to learn how to trust, then just trust. And that's kind of how my life has gone. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just went to meet a friend in Mallorca, and then I had all this donations in all these different currencies, like 8 different currencies in my suitcase. And then Jesus is like, yeah, get them changed to euros and put some money down on a set of villas. And I'm like, for what? For a month-long devotional retreat. A month? Who gets off for a month? He's like, this is what we're doing. This is the program. This is it. You show up and you get these villas rented, and then you let me do the rest. And let's have some fun. Okay, all right. If that's the way Jesus works, then I'm in for it, And it has been a joyride, really. Thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you, Muna. Is it 2 hands, Andy?
There's one hand left, and it's Don.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi,
Hey,
David.
Don.
Hi, Don.
Hello. Well, sitting here, kind of going all the different things I wanted to bring up. But I thought I'd try something different, at least initially, and that is to say, David, does any question arise for you to ask of me?
Of you.
And maybe you could say no.
Nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
I love you just the way you are, but
Thank you.
I can't think about a question for the life of me.
That's good. Okay, well, that's good. Whether you had a question, at least you got your unconditional love, out there. I appreciate that. I really do. So, as you know from my conversations or blathering at times, so the psychosomatic stuff's really that people have been talking about. That's what I would call it. Oh, so because that comes from, okay, so I've been wanting guidance, right? Come on, give me guidance. I've heard guidance in the past, or at least a voice giving me a little bit of tidbit, sometimes what I'd call miracles, or holy instance before I really had a name for those things. And boy, I would love to have had the life you had and are having, the joy and having the joy within myself and bringing joy to other people. And I just want to end my suffering spiritually, the spiritual level. And the suffering of people around me, some of which I contribute to, but I mean, by my behavior and my thoughts. but also just the suffering of people that are, you know, kind of arriving through my wife particularly. But so I'm looking for guidance. And so early Monday morning, very early, I woke up, and in that zone between sleeping and waking, which is often when I've heard guidance, I get a voice, not real familiar sounding to me. I've had voices before, this is what seems similar. And the voice says, I want you to read Dianetics.
L. Ron Hubbard, yeah.
L. Ron Hubbard. You know, in L. Ron Hubbard, Scientology I became aware of it way back when I was in a graduate program getting a master's. Came upon some guy in the community, and he introduced me to it, you know. And I just thought it was like stupid. You know, I thought, is this stupid? And I did my psychology masters and all that. And so, and then Dianetics, you know, was popular and really at the visible level in my awareness over the years, and I always just kind of tossed it aside. So then I get this guidance. I want you to read Dianetics. I'm going, what in the hell? Are you kidding me? This is guidance from spirit? Sounds like guidance from ego to me. And I've tossed that out to people in kind of some local ACIM meetings. One guy says, oh, that's ego. Don't pay any attention to that. Another guy says, no, don't do that. Let Don, you know, I found in my life that, you know, spirit can use anything. And so I started online. I found a PDF on Dianetics, and I've been reading it. And it's all about unwinding in different language, really, and managed by what they call auditors, trained to take you to these unconscious, they don't call it memories, they call it something else. They call it another name. And these are unconscious, out of awareness incidents in your past that have evoked a traumatic or emotional responses, and they kind of come up, stimulated in your current life. They come up, they're activated, but you don't know that your reactivity has anything to do with the past, and you can't contact it. And the analytical mind, because that's what they contrast with the reactive mind, comes up with an explanation, you know, for it. Because the analytical mind always wants to make sense of things. And the whole idea of Dianetics is to get clear of all those engrams, they call them, engrams, not memories, but engrams. Get clear of all those, and when you get clear of all those, you are clear, you're 100% available to your analytical mind. Which I see as the world, you know, the world mind, but at least clear. And then you have intelligence and spontaneity and joy. And L. Ron Hubbard, he came to the conclusion, you know, you're going to find people are loving. That's basically we're loving. So all that is where I'm at. But in trying to read the Dianetics, I found myself troubled. It was troubling to me. I'm going, oh my God, am I going to start some other kind of system, you know, epistemology, some other approach, some other, you know, getting involved with some organization that I don't like the stories I've heard about it. And anyway, just, God almighty, God help me, God. I'd love to have a high purpose, a spiritual purpose. I'd like my function. Talk about Tabula Rasa, and I know there's that lesson. One of the workbook lessons talks about, you know, getting to the place where you have this clear slate, and on that clear slate, your function will be written. Yeah. Well, I don't have a clear slate. I mean, the obvious. Okay, I could say.
But Andy did. Andy posted that very line in our chat, and that's the one that Kenneth was talking about. But yeah, the Holy Spirit can guide you to a book or to read something. That happens very, very frequently. And it's interesting that you mentioned Dianetics, because I think a day ago or a day or two ago, I happened to see on Facebook, somebody had a post and it just said Dianetics is a course in miracles, something about for Christians. Dianetics, Course in Miracles is Dianetics for Christians. That's what it said. I no kidding. I saw that just a day or two ago on Facebook. A Course in Miracles is Dianetics for Christians, meaning Christianity, you know, is heaven and hell and the do's and you don'ts, but Dianetics does. L. Ron Hubbard got into the unconscious mind, and there are a lot of good psychologies, transpersonal psychologies that do it. I mean, even different types of astrology, numerology. There's a lot of very good techniques that will get you into the unconscious mind and the beliefs and the patterns. So I think that is a good thing. And when you mentioned about the audits and the auditors, that's just no private thoughts and no people pleasing. That's the same system I've used, you know, with all these communities for all these years, and that's really all that it is. Now, of course, with any system, they can get into, you know, charging a lot of money and buying a lot of properties, and of course, Scientology is known, you know, Tom Cruise and who was the guy in Phenomenon?
John Travolta.
John Travolta, yeah. These are like, there's some very, very famous. And of course, this is a system that's trying to get you more clear. And yet, Jesus is so clear in the Course that the ego mind and the analytical mind are the same. So the goal is not to clear you to finally get to the analytical mind like in a pure, pristine form. It's basically saying, no, the Holy Spirit accepts and the ego analyzes. That's how Jesus puts it. And the Holy Spirit is our freedom. So we want to come to acceptance of the correction, is basically. But Jesus takes everything so much deeper. But I think, you know, Ken can tell you, we've been guided to read all kinds of things, you know, Krishnamurti and all kinds of different teachers and teachings, and it's been wonderful. And for me, it was part of a discernment lesson. I know some people that don't like Krishnamurti. They will say, you know, and then they start trying to compare Krishnamurti's teachings to the Course, and I'm like, listen, the guy is just a sparkler. He lit my heart up. He's with his twinkly eyes and his passion. I said, I was lifted up just by watching videos of Krishnamurti. I'm not here to compare and contrast his teachings. And there's some people that I adore Paramahansa Yogananda, but some lady wrote to me a few months ago and said, some of Paramahansa Yogananda's teachings are dualistic. Well, all I know is I'm lit up whenever I think of him, and I'm inspired by him. I never did, you know, get into the analysis of the teachings, and they wanted me to make like a comparative religion between mystics and saints, and I'm not interested. I've got too much joy. I've got to keep showing my movies, and it's like the Monkees, the group. We're too busy singing to put anybody down. You know, I don't have time to put down the saints and the mystics. I've got too much joy right now. I've got to let out, because it's for me, it's for my life, it's for everyone. But I can see where the Holy Spirit would just send you in there to bring you on this show to ask this question. Because I didn't have a question, but you had a good question there. and then it came right out. And, you know, and I admit, L. Ron Hubbard was into getting clear of the unconscious mind. Jesus is right with him on that. So that's a commonality right there.
Oh, you want to say? Can you unmute Andy, please?
It's the purification of the ego mind, if you will, making it less of an obstacle to get guidance, to get clear guidance, and to live a Christ-inspired life. And that is what I want, a Christ-inspired life. And I think that's what troubled me about reading Dianetics, is I realized this isn't going to get me, this in and of itself. I could get clear, but then my ego still be in charge, and I could just get inflated. And I think that's what happens a lot of times, ego inflated. And I don't want to be ego inflated. I've lived a whole self-centered life forever. Even my spiritual quest, I suppose, has been contaminated, if not guided at times in just such a self-centered way. I don't want to be there anymore. I don't want to suffer, and I don't want to contribute to anybody else's suffering anymore. And it sure, I mean, the Dianetics sure did say, yeah, okay, I get it. There is some real unconscious shit in me. And he even talks about like these, what he would call demonic, unconscious memories that are really actively, defeating and contaminating what clarity I do get. In any case, I appreciate your commenting about it, David. And I just want joy. I want God's joy. I want God's joy. I don't care what it looks like. I don't have to be the guru I thought I was going to be. I just want to love unconditionally. And yeah, I do. That's what I want.
We join you. We
Oh,
join you in that.
Oh, yeah, that's the
beautiful.
bottom line. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you so much. Wow. Oh, thank you, everyone. Wow, that was a deep one. And we end on unconditional love. Thank you, Don.
Yeah.
We got there in the end.
we start with little garden and we come all the way to unconditional love. That's a good trip.
Oh my God. We did the whole trip. We made it.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Thank you all.
Lovely. Thank you.
Put on gallery so I can see all your faces.
Thank you so much. What a session. Oh, I love you so much. Yeah, many blessings. And let's expect miracles always. Love you.